Pepsi Baxis Partnership.
So I think you take a mic. Yeah, mic. You can hear it then. Take the column mic.
Hello? So we will start the presentation about Pepsi Baxis Partnership, and we will start by seeing first of all the actors. So you can show the next slide. So there are three actors that we define: Basics, PepsiCo, and farmers in Japan. So Basics is a conglomerate of three companies: BSFL, EGS, a non-profit organization, and PBS. So BSFL is a microfinance institution, EGS is a non-profit organization, and KBS is a local bank. And under the Basics, they are forming a group, Basics, and its mission is to create sustainable livelihoods for population living in rural areas like Jharkhand. And to do so, they are providing financial services and technical assistance to the population. And they already had a strong presence in Jharkhand when Basics and PepsiCo came to ask them. You will see that further. PepsiCo is a really huge company that I think everyone knows. And here in India, they've merged with Frito-Lay India, and they had a little struggle because they wanted to really good quality potatoes, which are responding to a certain size and quality. And the open market was not able to satisfy the demand. And the farmers in Jharkhand, it's a rural area with little opportunities for the population, so they can grow things on the ground or try to find a job in the city, but not a lot of opportunities because a lot of the farmers are educated and there is a high rate of illiteracy. They have insecure revenue because they are depending on the weather. So if it rains a lot a year and nothing in the second year, they have difficulty to have sustainable revenues, stable revenues. And there are a large number of landowners. So there are a lot of owners of small lands, and they have the possibility either to grow things on the ground or to sell it or to put it like on leasing and go to the city try to find a work. And now we will, so what was the project about? So Pepsi came with an idea. It was to ask Basics to use the presence in this area to convince the farmers to have a partnership with them. So the idea would be that the farmers are growing potatoes, we have certain type of potatoes in a certain way, and Pepsi would buy it to a fixed price of 14 cents per kilo. And just to give you to see what the price about, so buying from $0.08 per kilo to 0.2 kilo on the open market. So it varies from one year to another. And Basics decided to see what would be like they put the project, see if it would be like feasible, sustainable, and so on. And they said like as the area would be good for growing potatoes, they could start the project.
The Pepsi basic contract at the end was beneficial for all the three actors. Like as farmers are concerned, they like a steady source of earning at the individual farmer level. They had access to the production services and credit, and they also learned the new skills and the technology for the farming. They had the opportunity to diversify into new crops and new markets, and also there were the rewarding employment opportunities for the landless agriculture labor. As much as PepsiCo is concerned, they were like they had like guaranteed supply of potatoes all around the year, and Basics they created a good image among the farmers in Jharkhand, and they also received the support from the juice company. Their
Next, we'd like to give you some background information on the traditional farming process so you can understand how that cooperation and partnership worked. So looking at the chart, we do have a small cost breakdown for the farmers. We can see that the majority of the cost is actually spent for the seed, which they need to use. Then they go on with seeding, watering, weeding, and in the end harvesting. After all that, for 1 acre of land, they're left with a profit of $115.8 US. But that only happens if there are no other things coming up, like, for example, we have other challenges like blight infestation or a shortage in rainfall, which happens kind of every 2 or 3 years in that area. So that's a huge risk for them. And the thing is, they can't really afford an insurance for that because the insurance is $100 per acre, which would actually take up all of their profits. And furthermore, they are very dependent on money lenders, which kind of exploit them because they're not very well educated. So these money lenders, they will just charge very high interest, and they can't do anything about it because they can't do money. This is a short overview of the project workflow along a kind of a value chain. So first of all, what happens, Basic and Pepsi, they provide certain input. So they provide different kinds of staff to get the project running. They also provide trainings and so on. So what Basics then does is they, for example, check the pH of the soil. They also pay 75% of the seed costs, and as we've just seen, the seed is the major cost driver for the farmers. After that, they deliver the seeds to the farmers, and they also guide the farmers together with Pepsi. After that, so once the potatoes are harvested, Pepsi will check the quality right before picking it up. Basics will then pick up the harvest and do the logistics, so the transport to the warehouse of Pepsi. They then obviously produce potato chips, and they pay, Pepsi then pays Basics, and Basics deducts their fees and passes on the payment to the farmers. So they're sure they can get their money. So these are the results of the partnership. So the first year went extraordinarily well. After that, so the number of participating farmers increased from 424 to 873. Also, the total acreage of the project increased from 83 acres to 518 acres. So that's a huge increase. Furthermore, Basics also they offered loans to the farmers, and their loan portfolio also doubled within that time period, which then made Basics to operate consulting services as well to the farmers. So after that first year, they even took more steps to make the project more successful. So they increased their staff, they also increased the promotion budget, and they did, for example, village meetings together with Pepsi and Basics to gain the trust of the farmers and to advertise the project.
So yeah, that was the result for the first year, but then we got some problem in the second year because there was some heavy rains, which caused the seeds to be washed away, and so the potato didn't grow very well. So basically what happened is that Pepsi refused a lot of potatoes because they were not conform to the standards they were requiring. And so farmers were with a big stock of potatoes, so they had to sell it otherwise. And it happened that the open market rose its prices to 20 cents per kilogram. So farmers did go to this market and sell the potatoes to this market, often by night, like in secret, because they didn't want Pepsi to find out. So yeah, the dilemma was really for farmers, Pepsi and Basics to understand until which point will the partnership be valuable and profitable for them. For farmers it was very risky because they had a big initial investment, they had some loans. For Pepsi, they decided to enter this partnership and to work with small farmers rather than big companies in the industry, which was also bad at the beginning.
And for Basic, it was also different because they didn't do agriculture before, and basically in Jharkhand everything was going well for them, and they put in danger their reputation for this project. So it was kind of a big deal. So at the end of the second year, some question arose. Basically, we wanted to find some solution to provide, to convince each stakeholder to continue the project. We wanted to know how it is possible to make every stakeholder profitable without making anyone feel a bit under-evaluated, estimated. And so we tried to find some solutions, some contract clarification and insurances to make parties continue this project.
So we analyzed and we tried to come up with few recommendations for Basic so that the partner should continue and it should be successful. So one problem which appeared in the second year of the partnership, which was the reason for dissatisfaction to farmers, was that the market price was much higher than the price set by Pepsi. So what we are recommending to Basic is during the contract, what they should do is they should not fix the price in the start of the cultivation season itself. Rather, they should keep it variable and they should match it with the market prices so that the farmers are pretty much satisfied with the prices. Second, they should come up with crop insurance and weather insurance for farmers so they can form a partnership or collaboration with some private insurance companies. Like one is ICICI Lombard, which they formed a partnership, so they can come in partnership and they can provide insurance to the farmers. And our third recommendation is, in the second year, what happened was due to the abrupt increase of number of farmers in the collaboration, they were not able to provide the right amount of seed and other fertilizers and other resources to the farmers at the right time. Like they delayed the supply of the seeds. So what they should do in the start of the cultivation period itself, they should estimate the number of farmers, the quantity of seeds and the fertilizers they will be requiring in the coming season, and then they can tell this to PepsiCo and they can be well prepared before the cultivation season. So these are our recommendations.
So what should we recommend to Pepsi? So first we should recommend to Pepsi to provide insurances to farmers because they, as Luca said, they can provide it for themselves. So the goal would be for PepsiCo to provide it to the farmers. And they should provide good seeds too to the farmers in correct quantity and in the correct time so that they can improve the harvest every year. Then about marketing, PepsiCo is a famous brand that each of you I think know. But the thing that we think that they should use this partnership with Basics in order to increase consumer awareness and to increase the attention to the brand.
So we also found out what happened after the 2 years of the partnership. So in this second year itself, there were lots of problems because PepsiCo said they were not able to get quality potatoes from the farmers. And farmers were not happy because they were not getting the market price. While they were renewing the contract in the 2008 and 2009, the PepsiCo were not, Basics come up with few contact points to help the farmers out related to the price and all, but the PepsiCo, they did not agree with those contracts. And also the PepsiCo was not supporting crop rotation in these areas, so the quality of the soil was degrading year after year. And farmers were, at the end what happened was the farmers of Jharkhand, they were not ready to collaborate with Basics and sell potatoes to PepsiCo, so the partnership did not continue.
So what was the total learning? this is all functional.
Yeah.
What happened to start with, what happened later, what happened then, and then finally, very nicely put up, after the case was written, what then happens. What have you actually learned?
So like one point was that PepsiCo was not about concerning about the farmers and their soil. It was only
Just go back to that first slide where you talked about, what is the good things.
I think the learning is like that you need to get a
I'm just saying, benefits of that. Yeah, yes. So basically, when it started, PepsiCo was motivated, Basics was motivated, farmers were motivated, right? And you have put down the benefits. And to be honest, in a country like India or all developing countries, if you need to be a good corporate citizen, you will need to reach out to people. Otherwise, there will be huge rejection. And therefore, it's very, very important that as a corporate citizen, you reach out. So therefore, many companies don't have the practice, Tata's started way back, so they have their own kind of ways of looking at this, their own organization. We saw ITC, which has their own organization. But many people, like Pepsi, which started in 1980, did not have it. It's probably too expensive. Right? And they're a multinational company. So they thought that through a good microfinance organization like Basics, they would get the goodwill of the farmers, they'll get a steady supply, the farmers will be benefited, it will be a nice story. For the farmers, it's a great thing because they don't have to take the trouble of going to the mandi, selling their potatoes, so they have an assured place which will lift their product. Okay? Something like the e-chopper experiment. The Basics is there because also, apart from the fact it's got a good image at that point in time, they also, all NGOs, these organizations, they want something to do and also to improve their efficiency. There's a lot of learning that you get from corporate systems, corporate work, and so on. So this was the beginning, and it all starts this way. So when you are the most enlightened, like if you go back in one of the first classes I've shown you, all these motivations. Somewhere along the line, however, it doesn't work according to this. It never does. Companies find out that it's really very troublesome. The whole problem is that there is distrust in all the three parties. And that is the biggest thing to overcome. What it takes is a lot of patience, and you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Something we call stakeholder engagement. So here the stakeholder engagement happened. But ultimately the three remained in their three respective polarities. It didn't become a nice cycle. I will only posit this to you that if some of you are working in developing countries, India, Africa, wherever, you cannot work and pretend that you are in France or Germany or India. You have to reach out to the communist person, otherwise all your good business ideas will never get off the ground unless it's a small startup which is an aggregation business. That will prosper. The learning from here is that going forward for India, also for government, that this citizenship indeed needs to be encouraged, but above all, the trust factor needs to be built up and patience needs to be there. Functionally, it is a good presentation, but these learnings have to sink in. It's not only in philosophy, but in practice, and a lot of patience and trust needs to be there, and a lot of hand-holding, and one should refuse to give up. Because what has happened here is given. Sir, what would you like?
I am also with you, but one point I would like to concern about this model of that. So when any farmer is tied up with any multinational company, that is, he is bound to sell that. So he is not, that time he is not searching to the open market for the other opportunities. In that time, his mindset always is there. So when the multinational company is like to price it down or not to take in some initiative, then that time he is failed to sell his production, and he maybe not go to this market because market also not know. It is better on that some percentage maybe like to go to this type of multinational company. And some part of this, he always searches the open market, because until the open market will be not created, so this model cannot be long run, can be sustainable.
Some part was being sold by the farmers.
So the farmers basically, when the prices increased, they sold off a few, like a bit of their harvest to the open market, not to Pepsi anymore. So they kind of tried to do that, but that was not within the contract.
That was not within the contract. So what sir is saying is, you must keep that, also build that trust factor. You must keep those options open so that nobody feels unduly exploited. And the market can also be slowly built up so that everyone is.
This is one point. The very positive side is that NGO network is very strong. They can reach the people, but when they will exit, they should not be lifetime give the service to this type of people. That is a need of the first awareness building. After the awareness building, they will make the phase out plan. So after 3 years, I will become out from this system. Otherwise, these farmers and people all are depend on them, and it is another kind of say that the farmers also not trying to get the opportunity where the other product is coming. If I give the one example of any farmer, the continuously 3 years the cultivate the one product, and the 4th year his production will become down. It should be diversify the product. So in that time, is a PepsiCo contact will be not help to give, and NGO also cannot be helping. So it is like on that. It is give this type of contact in maybe the 2 to 3 years, and after that, where they will prepare the 3rd year, which new product they will be like to go on that. And India is a big concern about it. About 70% of the economy depend on rural. No, and the agriculture gradually dependency of the GDP growth has come down. No, but in the employment given is the highest, 55% employment given by them, and 18%. There is from 60% GDP contributed by agriculture, now it has come down 18%. But till now 55% people depend on that. So this is another way of that. Until we are not diversified of the agriculture production, and until we are not develop the modern skill to the who are depend on agriculture labor, so the production will not come, and automatically you know that the cost is increasing day by day. Every time fertilizer cost increasing, seed cost increasing, labor cost increasing, so that NREGA will help from that. Given that the wage rate automatically increase. So in that point of view, if production will not come good, it will be not another. Who will be support this? NGO can support in that. It is another way to say that the tissue culture. No, if it is like to introduce. So NGO initially like to do it 1 year, 1.5 years or 2 years, and then set up a research unit where the tissue culture and new seed can be developed and then supplied to them. So it is a total package. So not only the one point only sell and contact. I see that can be need to further develop.
Thank you so much. Very, very valuable inputs. Thank you very much. It was a good presentation. I think sir will
very good.
Very good. Yes. So now really the finale. This is the last presentation, isn't it, of the course?
Yes.
So therefore, we end in a very fitting way. Next day is the quiz with really, as I said, our privilege to have Mr. Ghosh, who has started with the NGO world and is finishing with business with a big bang, in a way that nobody has attempted or succeeded in India, or for that matter in the world. It's a unique model that you start with an NGO, build a business, and the cycle becomes complete. I hand it over to Mr. Ghosh with a lot of hope and.
So good morning to all of you. Thank you, sir. We are coming your relationship with a long time, 12 years in time. So this is my opportunities also. Get the people who toward our country and abroad, and listen to Bandhan. Beginning of that, I would like to give the one other video about Bandhan.
Today, all of us in the Bandhan family are rededicating ourselves to fulfill the demand of every Indian. Banking as a fundamental right. The birth of a new bank in India after more than a decade, and the first Eastern India after independence. Hundreds of my borrowers গ্রাম থেকে এসছে, যারা আমার দিদি এবং মা, যারা এই সংস্থাকে এই পর্যায়ে নিয়ে আসার জন্য আমাকে সহযোগিতা করেছেন, তারা ইংরেজি বুঝতে পারবেন না বলে আমি বাংলায় কিছুটা বললাম। আমি আপনাদের কাছে কৃতজ্ঞ।
Institution is being born in West Bengal. The birth of a Bangla entrepreneur. I have no doubt that the bank will be of great service to the state of West Bengal in particular and to this country in general. My best wishes to the bank on this year.
As I stand here, I think Bandhan Bank reflects the aspirational symbol of India of the future. I have no doubt that with aspiration, inspiration and perspiration, Bandhan Bank will live up to the promise which all of us are expecting from it.
The birth of a bank is a big event. Mr. Ghosh is an outstanding leader and he has proven his credentials time and again. All of us here today are here to wish him and Bandhan loads and loads and loads of love, good wishes. We are not only expectant of his success, but we are very confident of his success. Mr. Ghosh, all the very best.
For me, really, India is a home of several experiments, particularly in the area of development. It's so good that in my lifetime, I'm going to see a microfinance institution become a commercial bank. Even the name is so good, Bandhan. So I once congratulate Bandhan. I wish them all success in what they're doing, particularly bringing to mainstream all the marginalized people of this country. A very historic event today. Thank you.
Hey, every few meters, there's a new business. Just setting up few lights, few things you need at home. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, so many of you I know, so well, one by one. My only submission is, let's celebrate today. I am here to celebrate creation of entrepreneurship. Through being an entrepreneur, it's not really in books. It has only been captured as the